Hi, my name is Sasha and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about types of characters that exist in English literature. The thing is that Russian literature is quite different from English one because we have different types of characters that are in the spot of light, and in English literature we don't have these type of characters at all, and because of that I needed to do a research. So let's find out what did I found about it. So today we'll be talking about 6 types of characters, one of the most common and who happen to be in most of the books, mainly protagonists. So the first one to discuss is epic character. Epic character appeared for the first time in Greek mythology, and because of that it makes him one of the oldest. And this type of character has his own qualities. The first one is that this character goes to adventure, and in his case adventure is literal. Basically, when we discuss Joseph Campbell's concept of hero going on adventure, that's the ancestor of it. That's basically the perfect compilation of all the things that we need for a character to develop. And in case of mythological characters, they are epic and they do the thing. They do the thing of the first concept of character development. Basically, if you want to find epic character, you need to go to the oldest books on the first place, such as Beowulf, such as Iliad, and other things like that. Because on the first place we can see them there, we can see them clearly. It's like definition of an epic book on the first, too much on the first. In these books you can see these overworldly strong, otherworldly perfect character who can do his thing, go on adventure, give you this Joseph Campbell concept of working the way it should, and because of that it's quite clear how to define it. But at the same time we can say that these characters exist in our modern world too, and by that I mean superhero. This character basically gives us this perfect example because as far as I know he doesn't have lots of personality traits. So if we compare him to, I don't know, for example Iron Man. Iron Man is a more modern version and we can't put him into this concept that I'll give today because it's more complicated, it's part of other trope. And while superhero is basically the ancestor of heroes, if we can say it like this, of modern epic heroes, because he gives you this perfect example of Achilles but in modern world. So basically Achilles and superhero are the same thing. Second type of character to discuss is tragic hero. What's about tragic heroes? Well, basically these characters exist in tragedies on the first place, and the thing about them is that they get bad ending all the time. These characters give you this example of you going through something but not in a good way, and because of every time you see someone dying you can think if he's tragic hero or not. Because if we speak about Romeo and Juliet, I always refer to them for some reason. Tragic heroes have this thing that they make a mistake, while epic hero makes basically no mistakes, or these mistakes aren't crucial. For tragic hero, his mistake is basically his downfall, and we'll think about him being dead, his friends being dead, his lover being dead, like lots of options of dead people. If we talk about some kind of old books, in modern life, tragic hero can survive, but it's very likely that it will lead to his downfall emotionally, because these days writers try not to go to this like straightforward way of showing you tragic hero by just simply death. They want these characters to die emotionally, die socially, and it's quite more interesting, I guess. Well, we've already discussed that Romeo and Juliet are good examples of tragic heroes. But are there any others? So I would say that Brutus from Julius Caesar is a good example of that, because he's manipulated into killing him and it leads to his downfall emotionally, socially, etc. And because of that we can see that it's his fatal mistake, that he has this flaw that leads to his mistake. If we talk about modern heroes, we can pick Anakin Skywalker, because he goes through his death of his mother, through lots of tragic events that leads him to going on the dark side. And because of that, it makes him a tragic hero, because he goes through his adventure, he gets his bad situation, and it leads to him going to his downfall. And even if he personally isn't dead, there are lots of corpses around. The third type to discuss is classical hero. Classical hero possesses some kind of great ability that makes him quite a useful person for society around him. At the same time, it can be some kind of internal skill or maybe some kind of personal quality that makes him such a good person. But at the same time, this character basically exists to show good things, and because of that, he's not that interesting actually for us. I would say that classical heroes started to exist during a period of classicism, and it makes him quite close to epic hero in terms of existence in general. So basically we can say that classicism is the period when we had sophists, when we have Socrates talking, and it makes classical hero the one who is one of the oldest. And at the same time, we can't say that this type of character doesn't exist anymore. Basically, Luke Skywalker is definition of classical hero. He gets his internal strength to overcome something, and it becomes well, basically he's typical protagonist, I would say. At the same time, we can say that Harry Potter is also a classical hero. But here we go to our next character. I did this top near Harry Potter while we were talking and decided to go to the next character. Well, the thing is that Harry Potter combines two options of characters. The first one is classical hero, because he has his internal strength to overcome Voldemort, but at the same time, he is everyman hero. Who is everyman hero? In a way, we can say that from fairy tale, Lucy Heartfilia is the definition of everyman hero, because even if she exists in this world, has her own characteristics that we know about her, at the same time she doesn't have, in the beginning personally, she doesn't have some kind of big personality traits that we can't relate to. In the beginning, she's just a person who is curious about this world, and everyone has to explain her what's going on. And in this case, I mean that she was new to the world of guilds, and because of that, Natsu and the other character needed to talk about it with her in order for us to make us part of the story, to explain us what's going on. Harry Potter has the most common name, and basically that's what Joan Rowling says. She says that she basically was looking for the most common names to name him, because for Russian-speaking people, it's hard to relate to Harry because he lives in this England world. For us, it's a different world, but for English-speaking people, especially for those who live in England, this character was specifically made to help these people to relate to it, to relate to Harry, because he's a simple boy who lives in a simple neighborhood. And for me, it was really hard to understand it, because for me, Harry was always a boy from some kind of wonderful world who lives in not the best conditions, while for English-speaking people, it was a different type of story. When Everyman Hero appeared for the first time, well, it was 1050 500s. When this character appeared on the first time in the play called The Summoning of Everyman Hero. This hero was allegory that explained and described all of us, simple people who was facing difficulties of this world. And because of this play, this term, this trope started to exist. And if you speak about this specific play, the most interesting part is that this hero basically was the only human being in the play. And it made him even more human, even more close to us. And that's basically why he was in the play. We can't relate to animals, we can't relate to species. and if we don't have human traits. So because of that, this character is the ancestor of all everyman hero. So of Harry Potter, of Lucy Heartfilia, of all the protagonists of novels where you have to flirt with girls. The next type of character was created by one person, that is Lord Byron. This character is called the byronic hero. For Russians it's quite hard to understand because we don't read Byron on a daily basis and we don't face him during our whole life. But for English speaking people I think it will be much easier. The byronic hero is cold, grumpy and inscrutable on the outside, but on the inside there is such an interesting personality. Oh my god! Basically Byron created someone who he can relate to and made it a whole trope that exists even these days. The common thing about this character is that he, even if he's wounded, even if he has his own trauma, at the same time he has lots of things that he really cares about, such as his moral traits, some beliefs in his life. And if you ask yourself, have you ever seen this type of character? The first one to come to your mind is Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy. Well, basically his definition. He has this cold-blooded way of manner. He also has his own behavior, being so a little grumpy, a little not like other boys. He's very outstanding, even if he doesn't try to outstand. And at the same time he has a really good, rich personality, and that's what makes him a byronic hero. The last one for today, I guess the favorite one for all the people, because it's anti-hero. Anti-hero gets lots of flaws. He gets his own bad decisions, but at the same time we love him so much because he's relatable, because of his overcoming, because of his inner thoughts about what's going on, and because of his own moral priorities. And that's basically why we exist as human beings. Even if we talk about everyman hero, we don't like him as much as we love anti-heroes. Everyman hero tries to please everyone. Anti-hero doesn't try to please anyone, he's working for himself. And that's what makes him the most beautiful for us. Heroes, let's talk about examples. The first one that comes to my mind is actually Captain Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow? Why did I say Jack? So, Captain Jack Sparrow. And this character actually has lots of flaws, but at the same time he's so charismatic. He makes a whole performance. He makes mistakes. He tries to fix his mistakes, even if they are not perfect. The second one that comes to mind, and actually this one I had to check myself like a couple of times, is Michael Scott from Office. This character actually isn't good. I mean, I didn't like him on the first place, but after his scene with Pam and her art exhibition, I was shocked. I wanted more. I started to love him. This character has lots of flaws, and I can't even count them. But at the same time, he has his own moral priorities. He has his own beliefs in this in these people being united in this office, in them being a family that he never had in that way. He found this family in them, and he wanted all the other people to feel it. And when we try to understand it, we start to relate to him. Even if he annoys us, we relate to him, and that's what makes him an anti-hero. So that's the end of our video. We discussed all 6 characters that I was planning to tell you about, and I was thinking about creating some kind of video about tropes in characters such as Girl Next Door and Manic Pixie Dream Girl, because I really love this type of information. I think it's really interesting to discuss their development in modern world and their ancestors. So let me know if you're curious about it. Let me know if this video was useful for you and you found out something interesting in you. So see you, bye!